Good evening, everyone. I'm your host, comedian, magician, Danny Whitson. But it's all tricks aside, because tonight we're turning the paranormal into the normal. Join me as we explore the gray areas of reality. We're going to talk all things paranormal, UFOs, ghosts, cryptids, and aliens, and see how it's all connected. This podcast is brought to you by the Experiencer Support Association, and we are live. So if you're an experiencer yourself, or you're just plain nosy, be sure to send me your question and subscribe to the podcast. Now, get ready, because it's going to get deep. No, really, we're going to go way out there, because this is Beyond the Tinfoil Hat. What's happening, my paranormal junkies? Welcome to Beyond the Tinfoil Hat, and I'm your host, Danny Whitson. Guys, we are broadcasting live from the E-United Public Radio Network and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network on 105.3 FM in the Gulf Coast and 107.7 in New Orleans. Guys, we got a fantastic show lined up for you this evening. I'm excited. Actually, I've been wanting to talk to this guy. We'll have him on the show for a while. I actually know this guy. But I've never had him on the show, which doesn't make sense because I've had his counterpart, but this guy, he's better looking than the other guy. So I think you guys are going to love this guy tonight. First, I do want to say, talk about a little bit of news. This is just kind of news. I don't know if you guys have picked this up in the UFO world, but my TikTok feed has been full of it. And I don't know, it may be full of it. I don't know if it's the real deal or not, but there's this whole rumor that the James Webb telescope has picked something up that it can't explain, and they're going to be dropping some info on us. I don't know, but it's popping up on TikTok. I've seen a lot of places, maybe on your YouTube feed. I don't know. But as more information comes in on that, I'll drop some more rumors. Is it real or is it not? Who knows? Anyways, tonight's guest, we are talking ghosts. Yes, but this guy's done a lot. He has done a lot. He is not only a ghost hunter, he's part of the Big and Funky films. He's a filmmaker, and he's also a musician, okay? But he's also a former wrestler, and he's part of a very cool paranormal ghost hunting show called Wrestling with Ghosts. So let's welcome Big Luke Walker.
I like that smile.
There we go. See, I told you. Better looking than Vinny. Better looking than Vinny. It's
debatable.
Well, I tell you what, Luke. If you don't care, do you care to let the viewers maybe just know a little more about yourself?
Yeah. Well, first of all, Vinny's wife is better looking than mine. Just so you guys know that, because mine doesn't exist. So, but I made her disappear. I'm a magician too. No, I'm a full-time musician. I play about 300 shows a year. Kind of makes it difficult to find time to do my other hobbies, which is, the paranormal TV show, Wrestling with Ghosts. It's our web series now. You could find that on Asai TV. There's some, there's a couple episodes up. We just redid one from season 1, cut out a dude that we didn't want in it, reissued it back on our Big N Funky Productions YouTube page. But me, I was born in Chicago. I've lived in Gatlinburg, Tennessee now for 25 years. I've been a touring pro wrestler, touring musician. I was a police officer. I make movies, basically I'm the kind of guy that whatever I want to do, I just do it. I don't like that attitude of, man, one day I want to. I'm like, well, it's one day is today. I'm just going to go ahead and luckily I found a partner, heterosexual life mate, Funk Master B, that he's also the same way. I can call him up and be like, dude, we got to drive to Philadelphia. Why? Well, we're going to get cheesesteaks and then see if we can find a place to hunt ghosts. He's like, oh, yeah, okay. And there we go.
That's awesome. And well, I don't want to give any episodes away, but you guys just got back from a very interesting trip too, filming an episode of Wrestling with Ghosts.
I don't know. This one is what we just did was it's like almost an evolving long-term story that got us there. We started Vinny's brother. I can't remember his name. I think it's uh, Lenny. Something, they're a very redneck family. But he went hiking over in the Bryson City, North Carolina area, where Spearfinger is known to haunt. That's also the basis of our first movie, The Hike. Uh, find it on Tubi. It's stupid. Uh, and he had all these experiences that we then went back a couple years later after we heard all these stories, and we investigated the area. And while we were there, some weird stuff happened. You're out in the woods though, so it's kind of, there's a lot of noise pollution and everything. But like I was walking in front of everybody down this. It's called the Nolan Creek Trail, and behind, I'm up front, and behind us, you hear me go, "Hey, hey guys!" So it's and Spearfinger has been known to, one of her traits is that she mimics. So we were kind of, it was pretty cool. I'm saying this to get to something that happened on this next trip. So then while we were doing that, we decided to make them, we kind of wrote The Hike, our first movie. We kind of wrote that on that Nolan Creek Trail. That's kind of where the ideas and everything came up for that movie. Well, then we made the movie, and then we've always wanted to go to this town where a lot of the stories happen called Proctor. And Proctor is a dead town. It was flooded out 100 years ago. It was a logging community that was flooded out, and you can't, if you walk there, it's 20 miles. It's in the middle of the park. We took a boat and still had to hike about a mile up into the woods. We did this right before the hurricane hit, actually the day before the hurricane hit us. So we get in the boat there, and we go to this town called Proctor, and we thought there was going to be ruin. Or I actually thought it was going to be like just nothing. I thought there was going to be maybe like an old tractor and stuff, but there was a few buildings left. Somebody maintains it. There's like the lawn was mowed. We camped there overnight, but one of the first things that happened is my son and Vinny and Travis, who's our other investigator, they go climb up a mountain, and I'm like, I'm not climbing up a mountain because there's supposed to be the ruins of an old bed and breakfast type deal up there. I'm like, I'm not climbing. I'm going back to the cabin. So I start walking back to the camp, and they're climbing this mountain. I'm probably half hour away or half a mile away from them at this point, and they caught on video, plain as day, me going, "Hey, Vinny!" I'm nowhere near it. And if I were to say it like that, I mean, it's plain as day. Like I'm standing 50 feet from them. But if I was to say that, I'd be like, "Hey, Vinny." I'm not a "Hey, Vinny" kind of guy. It's weird. But I mean, and then the ongoing part of it then is we leave and it starts raining. That those ruins and everything that we were at allegedly aren't there anymore. The floods apparently tore through that whole place, and like if we would have been there a day later, we wouldn't be right now.
Oh wow, yeah, yeah. The flooding. For you guys that's not aware, this part of the country, which I'm not sure how you wouldn't be, but we were hit pretty hard. Western Carolina, Asheville area, Northeast Tennessee was hit pretty hard with flooding. Definitely our hearts go out to, the victims and people dealing with that right now too. But you guys got lucky that you weren't there right there. I mean, you barely missed that bullet.
Yeah. I mean, I said, if we would decide, for some reason we decided to go on Thursday instead of Wednesday, we'd be done. And thank God we're all safe and everybody got home. But it's just like,
now
that's pretty wild.
The Spearfinger story, because, in the movie, The Hike that you guys do, that's based off a true legend.
Yes.
And, something that a lot of that, people normally aren't familiar with a mimic in the paranormal world, but it's something that exists apparently.
Spearfinger is a lot more than kind of more than a cryptid. I mean, more than she's a Cherokee basically legend, and she was there's the whole backstory, and her name is it's actually not Spearfinger, but that's just our translation for it. But you're not supposed to ever say her name. We wouldn't even say it making the movie. And but she's a rock golem. Her husband, whose name translates to Rock Man, she killed him in a epic battle back in the day. But yeah, she what she would allegedly do is could take the shape of an old woman, but then or an old crone, as they called her, and she would then also take the shape of if she saw a young Native American getting too far from the pack, she would take, look at his, or even anybody really. She should take the form of somebody in their family and take the voice and beckon them away, and then proceed to cut their liver out and eat it with her spear finger.
And you, so now in this episode, did you guys get the audio of "Hey Vinny"?
Yeah, that video. Wow. I when I saw it, I was like, "That's me," but I knew where I was at the time, so I was like that. So that's my voice, but that's definitely not me. But there's other things. There's supposedly these orange lights, like just orange lights that will guide you away from danger, and are supposedly spirits of victims of Spearfinger that are guiding you away from her. And we did see the orange lights. Vinny's got those on camera. Both investigations we did, we got the orange lights. So, but I mean, it was a cool place. I'll let the episode come out in a couple weeks. I won't spoil too much, but I mean, we camped at night and it was horrible. I mean, because it did rain like for 10 minutes every hour, and we're in these small little tents that I bought at Food City for $12, and the tents were like 6.5 feet long. I'm 6'8" long. So, and my son is 6'7" long. So we didn't fit in these tents. But then what would happen was so humid that just breathing in the tent would build up a layer of humidity in the tent. And then the rain would fall and knock that humidity down. So it would literally rain on you in the tent. And it was a horrible, horrible experience. But it was also great.
Well, let me ask you this. I want to ask you about this. Like, do you think, because you said like in Native American culture, you shouldn't even speak the name. Do you think maybe with you guys making a movie around something like this, it may have attracted the actual experience?
I don't know. And that was something because we were thinking about looking into, because when we started looking into Spearfinger, there was literally no paper trail on Spearfinger. There's no internet trail, nothing. And we went into, Vinny walks into the National Cherokee Historical Society building dressed in a mink coat.
Of course he does.
And women's sunglasses to ask, but they wouldn't tell him about Spearfinger. And then we went, we're asking people, natives all around Cherokee about her, and they literally would not sell us anything. And then finally we got somebody that worked behind the desk or behind the counter at Arby's to give us a brief rundown of, but they're like, oh, she's just a legend, but we don't say her. It's like one of those things, they don't believe it, but they believe it. It's just, So, and that's really cool. But after we started making the movie, then all the Mountain Monster guys showed up, and that doesn't make me happy, because that's a scripted television show, and those guys aren't even good actors. The Mountain Monsters guys showed up. They started doing documentaries. There was like a book called like the So Joanna Journal that was apparently found that had art references to us in it. That was apparently found, and it was wrote in 1956, and it had reference to us and Spearfinger. It was like, there's some weird stuff going on around the whole. And I just want to tell your viewers, I'm a reasonable guy. Like, I'm not given to, I'm a showman because I'm a musician and a pro wrestler and stuff, but I'm a very serious, serious guy. But so I just want you guys to know that, I'm not going to sit here. I don't drink the Kool-Aid of the paranormal field and all these different things. My group we're a free thinking group. We don't. So if if anything I said sounds weird, just know that. I mean, I'm a former police officer. I'm a goofball, but
you're definitely rational.
I'm sane and rational.
So. I can vouch for you on that, Luke. We got our first question, and she is she's awesome. She's the GOAT of questions on Beyond the Tinfoil Hat. Liv Light, love to see you, Liv. Liv comes up with a question here. She goes, "Welcome, Luke. if Spirit Finger considered is Spirit Finger considered a shapeshifter? Could she be an interdimensional being, aka alien? I love those questions.
That's a great question. But the legend of Spearfinger has been around for 1,000 years. So that's always possible. But usually, there's another, like I was saying about I know a very reasonable, very serious person that was talking to me one day, and I've talked to him 100 times, and there's never any kind of paranormal, cryptid, UFO talk. And he started talking. He goes, "Did I tell you I saw Bigfoot?" And I was like, "No." He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "I'm out in the woods around Morristown, Tennessee. I'm out in the woods, and I hear something like 200 yards that way. It sounds real weird. Then it's on the other side of me about 200 yards. And then it's to my left about 100 yards. He's a hunter, so he knows the distances and everything. And he goes, and then right in the path in front of me, Bigfoot just walks right across the path.
Wow.
He goes, and I don't think there was a family of them because they all sounded the same. He goes, I think it could portal. And he said, when he said portal, I'm like, wait a minute. So you don't know anything about Bigfoot, right? He goes, no. I was like, because there is a lot of rumor or speculation that Bigfoot's an interdimensional being as well.
Absolutely.
And I was like, and he didn't know any of that backstory. When I told him that, he's like, really? That's weird. Why would people say that? I was like, maybe because they kind of have the same. Because I'm the kind of guy that my biggest belief is like, there's people that believe in ghosts, there's people that don't, there's people that know. Okay, I saw ghosts when I was young. That's why I know there's ghosts. I don't believe in ghosts. I know there's ghosts. This guy, I've never seen Bigfoot. Doesn't mean I don't believe in Bigfoot. Not because I want to believe in Bigfoot, but I've never seen Bigfoot. But if he says he did, and I know him as a credible guy, okay. So I'll never close my mind to. It doesn't exist because I didn't see it.
Of course, and I want to say real quick before I forget it. Just yesterday, there was a Bigfoot sighting in Claxton, Tennessee.
Okay, that was me. I was drunk. I got naked.
Okay. I was wondering. First thing I thought, I was like, was Luke drunk again? But
I was in Loudon, Tennessee, filming music video yesterday. That was
But and I'm the same way. I've never seen Bigfoot. That doesn't mean that it's not real. And who am I to? I've had people on here who've had experiences and stuff. Who am I to say? And I'll be honest, man. I've heard so many similarities type similar stories that, man, there has to be something more than what's going on. There's no doubt in my mind.
Well,
and as far as and I used not to be like this. I used not to like to think that everything is connected, but now I'm starting to believe there is. There's a connection here with all of it. So
we've got a lot of Hondurans that live around me, and so my neighbor, I got a couple of my neighbors are Hondurans, and they don't talk about Americans. Is there a Bigfoot? Is there not a Bigfoot? With them, chupacabra it's a thing. It's not is there not? They're like, no, there's chupacabras.
Well, there's some really good video footage out there of chupacabra. Really good. Some unexplainable stuff. I think, like I said, I'm a believer. Like, there's two different types of realities, Luke. There's this reality, and then there's this reality. And not to go too far down the rabbit hole, but I mean, our brains right now, when we look around the room, we're literally hallucinating reality. And your brain, for what it can't make sense of, it makes up.
Well, the way I put this into perspective, and I was actually talking to my lady the other day about this, is I think that we as people are, we know what we're taught. We see the world as we see it. We can't understand how the pyramids were made. Well, that's because we see matter. We see things that we can see with our eyes, things that we're taught to see. We don't see energy. We don't see magnetism. We don't see, sound waves. We don't see those things, but maybe other cultures, other people, other beings exist in the energy waves, because energy doesn't die. It's got to, so it moves around us
Absolutely.
everywhere. But yeah, as we are trained to see what we know, what. But imagine if, like they always say, well, there can't be life on that planet because carbon-based life can't exist on that planet. It's like, well, who says life has to be carbon-based?
Exactly. We don't make the rules.
Yeah.
I mean, we like to think we do, but we don't make the rules.
We know what science is on Earth. We don't know what science is on Uranus.
No, and I love to go there. But I mean, we can only measure things with the limited tools that we have. I tell people, reality life is kind of like a Saw movie. We wake up in a room and we've got to do this to figure this out and but we don't really know what the hell's going on. You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
well, that's it. I think like people ask all the time, like on our paranormal show, people ask us is like, well, how do you guys get so much evidence? And I think the more you plug in, you tune yourself to the energy wave, the more, it's just the further it's like, taking steps forward. You tune in, you keep like just last night, no, Sunday night, I'm sitting in my apartment, Gatlinburg, Tennessee. No reason. It's 11 o'clock at night. A baby starts crying in my kitchen. 5 seconds. I run outside, make sure somebody ain't walking by. I run into my son's room, make sure he's asleep. Yeah, just a baby crying in my kitchen. 5 seconds. Why would that happen?
But it's because you got your windows open, baby. You're open, and I believe the same thing. I mean, the more you're awake, the more you see.
Yeah. Well, and it's like I said earlier. It's if you believe in something, that's not enough.
No,
and it's good to believe. It's really good to believe, but your belief leads you to the search for knowing. Once you know, you start expanding. Once you see a ghost, it changes everything.
And the same thing, it does change everything, absolutely. And I had the same experience with UFO, because I mean, my first belief, I believed in ghosts, I believed in the paranormal. Then I started learning more about the UFO phenomenon going on. My windows opened a little wider, and I saw a UFO for the first time in my entire life last year.
Well,
so it's strange.
The weird thing about, to me, and I've seen a UFO, and I'll tell you this, but I saw a ghost first, so I'll go into that, and then we'll answer that question. When I was younger, I saw a ghost, and it wasn't like, it's not like in the movies where there's a slow, tense scene and music starts going. You're like, hey, there's a ghost. That was it. It's just another moment in your life. It's like, hey, there's a ghost. And then, but being a police officer, when I was a police officer, we were in the park that's about a mile away from me right now. And we're standing out there 3, 4 in the morning, and we look up, and there's this huge triangle just silently moving through the clouds. You could see it backlit from the moon. Just this huge triangle, just going. And I look up, John's looking up. I'm like, it's UFO. Just another moment in time, and so but then once you see that stuff, because then I was like, well, yeah, there's UFOs, I guess. So now I'm not one given to levity. There's a UFO, there's a UFO. Hey, there it is. I guess those exist now. Okay.
And you saw the triangle shape is what you saw.
Yeah, it was a dark, no lights on it, no reflections. The moon was up above it, so it was between, it wasn't, it was in our atmosphere, and it was pushing through the clouds, but the clouds weren't, where I live is real high elevation. So there's, real thin, we're above the thick clouds. We're up in the thinner clouds. And it was kind of pushing the clouds, but not really not, chemtrail, plane speed. It was just, it was kind of, and it was
I'll tell you what, let's get to Liv's question here. I think she's got another fantastic question. She says, was there a sense that Spirit Finger had a message for your production crew show? She obviously wanted you to know she exists.
As somebody that writes movies, and as somebody that I tend to put, I tend to try to put, narrative to things that I don't understand, even though I know it's not the narrative. I think she did what the message. I think she wanted the world to know she exists. And that's why since then it's kind of, her story is kind of blowing up. More people know who Spearfinger is. But I think that was the point. Was she wanted to know that, because she was allegedly defeated and destroyed, but weird things have been happening. That, like, one of the things that said that she would do is cut down trees onto people to trap them. And she, we should use her obsidian finger to cut a tree down. In a 2-year period back about 2018, 5 people were killed in this national park here in the Gatlinburg side by falling trees.
Oh, wow.
What are the odds that a tree is going to fall on you?
Wow.
There's literally millions of trees and millions of people in the area. What are the odds of tree?
That's 5 different times.
Yeah.
Wow.
2 of them, they fell on them in the woods. 3 of them, they fell onto their cars while they were driving through the park. I mean, the odds of that.
That's crazy.
So, but yeah, I think that it was all. I think she. This is my opinion. This is not anything fact or anything, but I think she wants to be known.
Gotcha. What I think she chose. She wants some TV time. Nice. We see you there, Lisa. Thanks for joining, Lisa. Love to see you back. If you got any questions, give Luke send them his way. Now, Luke, you did say that you saw a ghost.
Yes.
Now, this is what I want to do before, because here in a minute, we're getting ready to cut to commercial break. But when we do come back, I would love to hear, your first experience with the ghost. I've talked about mine several times on here, and it's one of those things that I was a child. I was a kid when I saw mine. Yeah. And it's one of those things, like, you see it, I put it in the back of my mind, lived life, and it was come back as an adult where you start trying to put these pieces back together to figure out what in the heck's going on. But and I'm also on the same, same field with you, that the more you open your eyes, the more you notice, you will see these things. There's stupid things that happen to me all the time, paranormal wise. Just like you said, you heard a baby, things move, I
have stuff just all the time, to the point where it's like I said, it's just another moment in the day. It's just
something new. Hey, I want to give a shout out. I see David over here. I see you, man. Thank you for tuning in. We've got a Big Luke Walker here, Ghost Hunter. And he, if you get any questions, send them Luke's way. He will answer them the best he can. But yeah, I tell, like last episode or a couple episodes back, I told, this made no sense at all, Luke, no sense at all. But I took my shoes off. My shoe was laying on its side, and I literally watched my shoe turn upright the right way. Made no sense at all. And I was like, is there a frog in my shoe? What's going on? You know what I mean? But nothing. Little dumb stuff, little dumb things like that constantly happen.
Most stuff that happens around me is playful, because me and Vinny do have a attachment, as they call it, brought by by a little girl named Megan that is about 8 years old, that we picked up in more.
Well, I tell you what, Luke, we'll come right back. I want to hear more about that story. Guys, we'll be right back after these messages with Big Luke Walker.
Have you ever wondered, or maybe just thought to yourself, if there were others just like you? You know, people with extraordinary abilities, psychogenic advancement, and perhaps unique intuitions. Maybe you just wondered if there were other people who experienced unimaginable, unexplained, or even unusual and paranormal events. Are there people who have more questions, more fears than answers? Well, you're not alone. You've never been alone. We believe you. Sign up for EA today.
It's your property. Your assets are worth protecting. Blacklight Investigative and Surveillance Services specializes in patrolling and inspecting residential or commercial property against fire, theft, vandalism, terrorism, and illegal activity. People and buildings are monitored to prevent crime. Keep your property, your people, and your assets safe from threat. Our elite staff are dual licensed private investigators and security guards. Blacklight Investigative and Surveillance Services. Go to blacklightiss.com.
All right. We are back here with filmmaker, ghost hunter, and musician Big Luke Walker.
I'm eating sour balls from Buc-ee's, man. I love these things. Now,
oh my gosh, dude. I got to stay out of Buc-ee's, man. I call it 100 Buc-ee's because every time I walk in there, that's what I spend.
$60 every time I go there. $60. No matter what I go in there for, I walk out spending $60.
That's pretty disciplined. That's pretty disciplined. $60.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's burritos, man. I can't pass up a burrito. Well, one thing I would like to say, paranormal investigator, ghost hunter, it's kind of getting a negative connotation, and I hear this a lot. I hear a lot is, we're just out looking for fame and fortune. We're not really serious, blah, blah, blah. And I'm not going to challenge the serious part. Yeah, we're not very serious. But the fame and fortune part, that's like, we do a web series. We make movies, not for fame and fortune. We do it because at our age, and Danny, I'm sure you know this. I mean, I'm doing a show with you. I'm losing money to go to Cincinnati with your buddy Alex Stokes on Saturday. But it's not fame and fortune. It's at our age, the camera is an excuse for us to get together, for me and my friends to get together and have a good time and have a reason to do things. I've turned down TV deals with A&E with major networks, and because if you think there's fortune involved, I turned it down because they were offering $600 an episode.
Oh my God! Yeah. Oh, I know. Yeah.
$600 an episode.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that. So I just wanted to get that out of the way. I'm not a fame fortune kind of guy. We do big things because big things are fun. And little things are fun as well, but we do big things because it's an excuse to hang out with the people I love. Yeah.
And also, you're a creative type too, and you've got that in your soul, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm with you. You know, trust me, the things we do, you know, for such little money is it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And hey, I hate that I'm going to miss that show. By the way, I was supposed to be to Cincinnati with you
You were
guys.
supposed to be there. Yeah.
I'm going to be at Kentucky Pride. I'm going to be in Frankfurt that day. So
protesting? No.
yeah, I'm doing my comedy tragic show. So there we go.
No, that Cincinnati show, yeah, you were replaced because you had to back out with Funk Master V, Vinny Vineyards. It's the first ever Big and Funky booked musical show. We've known each other for 12 years. He's a bass player. I'm a guitar player. We've only played together once.
That's crazy, especially as much time as you guys spend with each other too. That's nuts.
Yeah,
but that's weird. I know it's going to be fun. Like I said, if there's any way I could have, you know, figured it out, but you know, it's going to be a good time up there. Okay. So yeah, I'm always interested in people's first paranormal experience, the thing that kind of wakes their eyes up to, you know, this different world that. So what was yours? How were you a child when it happened?
Well, I was a little bit older, but like, you know, my mom, who was a police detective, she was a very, you know, she was, I think in her life, I don't think she's ever told a lie, you know, and she passed away 2 years ago, but she told me a paranormal, a ghost story from when I was like, you know, a baby. I could, you know, I was like 2 years old, and she told me that something happened to her. And when your mom says that, and especially my mom, who I know who knew as a very, you know, honest human being, so from the beginning, I had a mindset that, oh, you know, nobody ever told me ghosts weren't real. My mom was like, yeah, I mean, this told me what happened. But then, this isn't seeing my first ghost, but the time I first experienced a ghost is me and my mom and my brother were looking for we were living in a townhouse, and we wanted to get my mom wanted to get a house, and so we were in Bolingbrook, Illinois, and we were checking through a few houses. We walk into one, me and my brother and my mom, we made the front door. We just all looked at each other and went, no. And we walked back out of the house because you just felt that house felt absolutely evil. But the first time I saw a ghost was in Galena, Illinois. I was 18 years old, and I did hardwood flooring. And there was another guy with me named Ralph, and we were left alone in this huge house in Galena, Illinois, to sand these hardwood floors. And the power source was in the basement because they had shut off all the electricity of this house because they were finishing it. But we could get to the power source in the basement. And I'm upstairs just sanding in the top floor, and I just felt something watching me. I'm like, oh, this is messed up. And then I go down to the basement where Ralph is, and he's standing there like scared to death, staring out the window. And I look out the window, and there's a pair of feet, like old boots and leg, standing. And in Chicago, you have the basements have these windows. They have like little culverts on them to go, you know, so you can go, light gets in down to the basement. Yeah. And somebody's standing in that culvert. So I immediately run upstairs, run outside, and that culvert was actually covered with a iron grate or with iron bars. So nobody could have been standing. I looked down, there's nothing in there. And I was like, saw a ghost. Yeah. And me and Ralph got in we were doing hardwood floors. Dude drove a Jaguar, 12-cylinder Jaguar. We got in his Jaguar and got out. We quit the job. So, but he was freaked out, and he was freaked out, and he was my ride. So, but I mean, so that was the first time I actually saw, you know. But again, it was just like he was freaked out. He was scared to death. But Ralph was Raphael. He was very Catholic, very Hispanic, and you know, he was, to him everything was, you know, So he saw a ghost, freaked out. I saw it. I was like, let me make sure it's not an actual person.
Now, like that first time. Now, like Luke, you talk about how you're a very rational person, and you're a thinker too. You are a thinker, and like I know you're silly. You like to goof off, but you're a smart dude. You are a very smart dude. Did you ever try to maybe break down like what's going on? I mean, is it interdimensional, or are we picking up just? Sometimes I've wondered, like you've heard the theory where time exists, the present, the past, and the future all exist
at once. Yeah, it's all at the same.
Are we picking up glimpses of just another part in time?
Every time I develop an opinion or a theory, something breaks it. Like I said, also to full disclosure, when I was 19 or 18 years old, just about that same time, I was diagnosed with it was called severe anxiety and nervous disorder. But then a year later, they changed that to Asperger's syndrome. So I have, and then when I did my psych eval for the police department, they also said I had adult Asperger's syndrome. So just so you know, I am on the spectrum, and I'm not one of these self-diagnosed, kind of people. But I did find that when I talk to other people on the autism spectrum, especially as low as I am, we have they used to say Asperger's was a lack of empathy, but I always thought that was wrong, and everybody else did too. It's an overload of empathy, and I think empathy is you are feeling energy. And so my whole theory has always been that spirits and everything, and everybody always picks up the negative energy. Well, I think once you elevate more, we pick up on the positive energy. Not everybody was a demon. Not everybody was a serial killer. Not everybody was, evil. We started messing around, getting with the lighter side of the paranormal. But every time, like, I think that, these might be interdimensional beings, or might be a residual energy thing, then something will logically interact with us. And they're like, well, something residual can't logically interact with us. So I have a feeling that there is a lot out there lumped into one thing. It's like if you walk outside and you hear birds, you're not hearing just sparrows. You're hearing 10, 15 different kind of birds. And I think the paranormal, especially with ghosts, maybe cryptids as well. I don't think UFOs. I think, again, UFOs is a completely different thing. I think it's, there's several different types of, I really honestly think there is a residual energy, a residual haunting, as they're called. But I also think there are beings, and they could be former people. They seem to be former people, which would make sense to my theory of heaven, is that we just return to heaven is the energy wave. It's the force. Use the force, Luke. Heaven is an energy wave that we all return to, and some people try to interact through that energy wave because the energy. I have this theory. Again, another thing I was talking to my lady Higwin about it. Between my hands, what's between my hands?
Well,
everybody would say nothing. There's nothing between my hands. Everything is between my hands. All the information in the world is right now flowing between my hands. My Wi-Fi router is right behind me. It's shooting through. It's shooting through there. Radio waves, my sound waves, energy waves, light waves. So much is going between my hands where we see nothing. Well, because we don't have a receptor for it. So that's what I'm trying to do, and a lot of people are trying to do is, I think people with Asperger's and a few other disorders is not disorders so much as you're tuned in differently. You have a different receptor.
I totally see what you're saying there, and I agree. I've kind of got my own theory based on something very similar to that. First, I want to hop here. Liv's got another great question here for us. She's on a roll tonight, Luke. Do you believe creative souls are just naturally drawn to the experience beyond 3D life? Did your awareness and paranormal experiences increase as you developed as a musician artist? Creativeness.
Well, I'll be honest with you. A lot of people say things, like when I started playing music because I had a dream. I started playing music because I had a passion. I started playing music when I was very young, about 11, 12 years old, because girls liked it. But and the better you got at it, the more difference the more they showed you how much they liked it. But I did notice that like when I play music by myself, it's therapy. I can take because I'm a naturally happy guy. I don't the worst things in the world have happened to me, and we don't need to go into it. Some of the worst things in the world have happened to me, and I smile every day because I can get on my guitar and just get into a groove and everything flows away. Like I have a guitar that I've had for, decades that I feel has a piece of my soul in it because it is. So I think that, when that's another aspect of that I think is also separate from the Asperger's, but that other people can attain is a musical soul is in tune with the energy. You're in tune with the energy waves. When I was, not to get into a religious topic, but when I was baptized, I came out of a very cold river, and I heard music, and I didn't just hear music. I heard two different songs being sung beautifully. And I saw the energy coming off of the trees in almost prismatic pulses, and I broke down and cried for 20 minutes because it's all music, it's all energy. It all is, it's sound waves and energy waves and heat waves, and I was like, and then I kind of stopped going to church after that because I was like, I think I got it. I think I know what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to share this energy. I'm supposed to share this music. I'm supposed to, get out here and experience and add to that energy instead of taking away from it, because there's so many people that just take away from the energy. I want to add to the energy.
Absolutely. And that's what you're doing. I had this thought yesterday. Yesterday morning, I was driving, and, I don't even know why I had this thought, but I thought, if you are a creator of any type of art, anything that makes anyone feel something, and that's and because, I was listening to my playlist, and, I was hearing songs, and I noticed my mood changed drastically. And it's amazing the magic that music can do to you to change your mood. And then I started thinking about other arts, what I do, comedy and all these other things, even actual, paintings, stuff that makes people feel things. That's something, that's energy. You're giving that energy. You're giving that good energy out.
And aren't you better when that energy is coming back to you?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I think there's something supernatural about that, man, if you want to know the truth. And now I want to jump on this real quick. I want to say this, what you were talking about, like with the Asperger's and the autism. I've got the same kind of theory with schizophrenia. People who suffer and people with schizophrenia. Think about this for a minute. Like I said earlier,
I've got a lot of heat for this, for my opinion on it. You're probably going to share my opinion. So
well, I think, what if it's just okay? Because how I said earlier how the brain is constantly this reality right now. It's hallucinating. And things that your brain doesn't understand, it makes up anyways and says, okay, this is what it is. I'm thinking some people who may possibly have schizophrenia may just be tuning in into another dimension, another reality that actually does exist.
I got a lot of heat for saying that. I think that most people that are truly psychic mediums, because a lot of them aren't.
Yeah.
But some people that are truly psychic mediums are schizophrenics, because and there's nothing wrong with that. 1 in 63 Americans is schizophrenic. 1 in 63. You can walk out your house and see 63 people within 5 minutes. But you see people that are schizophrenic see things that aren't there, or see things that other people can't see, hear things that other people can't hear. That's a psychic medium.
I mean, dude, I think you're onto something. Really,
I don't necessarily think, go back to one of the theories from the beginning, is just because I can't hear it or see it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. So doesn't have to be seeing things that aren't there. They're seeing things that I can't see.
Exactly. I think there's a little something there, man. Really, I do. And it's like I said, and at the end of the day, what do we really know?
Right.
You know?
But I think
So,
schizophrenia is like MSG. It's got a bad rap.
yeah.
Because MSG is great for you and it tastes delicious. But it got a bad rap in the late 70s because of corporate restaurants wanted to shut down the small Chinese restaurants. Now, schizophrenia, same way. The movies and TV shows have made schizophrenia to be this horrible curse. Same thing. Asperger's, we're looked at almost with sympathy. Like me and my brother is just like, you don't have Asperger's. It's like, I have diagnoses, you know. But
Well, it's also, the way mental illness has been treated throughout thousands of years. We've been horrible, treating people that way, and we've gotten better. We have gotten better. It's not but we're still not where we need to be.
No, but I think that certain forms of autism, some of them get bad, and I used to work for the Special Olympics. I've seen some bad stuff, but like light autism, schizophrenia, that could be almost a superpower.
Absolutely.
If you embrace it and learn how to work with it, you have like I can tell you how people are feeling just walking near them. And I learned how to observe human behavior, and I love watching people and trying to figure out what people's motives are, but the only problem is like my kryptonite is chaos. Chaos just add chaos into a thing, and I'm just now I'm in a corner.
Just overload.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you what future things you got coming up as far as with the wrestling with ghosts, anything like that?
Well, I'm really looking forward to acting in this movie that this magician is putting together. We are also putting together a movie called our next movie in the Smoking Gun Chronicles has to do with the Oak Ridge supercomputer, which should be fun, but it's a comedy.
I'm looking forward to that one too.
It's going to be a straight, and you're in it. It's going to be a straight up comedy. It's called Showdown in Secret City, though I'm trying to talk me into just calling it Secret City. Secret City is Oak Ridge. We've got a couple Wrestling with Ghosts episodes in the can. We're going to film a few more, hopefully the rest of this year. And I'm playing music. If you come to Gatlinburg, Tennessee, just listen and you'll probably hear me because I'm always playing music. I play 300 shows a year in Gatlinburg. So,
gosh, you are, brother. You are, you are working constantly.
Dude, it's a hustle and I love it. Best job on earth. I don't like, I had to go home sick because I got the Crohn's disease. And I know how to manage it, but my dumb butt ate a burrito and a bean burrito. I can't eat those burritos.
Oh my God.
Kills my Crohn's. And I had to go home and I was just like, apologize. I'm so sorry. I'm sick. I just can't eat it, bro. So, but yeah.
Didn't he play the bass?
Yeah. I do not like calling in sick because I got the best job. I'm blessed to have it. I worked hard to get it though. That's the difference between, I hear musicians go, I'm blessed to do this for a living. I was like, how hard did you work to get there? Think about that. You're blessed to yourself. If you can't just walk into it and do it. You got to work hard to get blessed.
You got to bust your butt. Absolutely. Well, we do got one last question.
You can see episodes and movies on Asai TV. All of our episodes and movies are on Asai TV. That's available on Roku and the internets. The Hike and WJHC and it's WJHCAM, which has to do with the Rapture. And you can see that gentleman right over here in that movie. It's a hilarious character. And also another movie we're both in called Benny's Fantastic Rock and Roll Venture. Those 3 movies are on Tubi. That's where I recommend seeing them because they have the best hit.
They were they're good movies too, guys. Definitely check them out. I'm not just saying this because I'm in them. But
just know they are campy. They are designed. Everything you see is exactly as we wanted it to look. They're very campy movies. That's what we wanted to make.
They the WJC is compared to Clerks a lot. The early '90s. The '90s movie Clerks.
Yeah.
But it's a great story. I think it's a feel good story at the end. Happy ending. I love, and it's a comedy. It's hilarious. And it's a horror. It's got some horror movie if you like zombies.
And the third act is go straight up horror on us. And the hike deals with Spearfinger and very comical, but also horror. You know, we do comedy horrors. Our movies are basically a mix between Kevin Smith, Sam Raimi, and that's about it. We love Kevin Smith and Sam Raimi, but we also like to throw some some messaging in there that you don't necessarily pick up on. So,
gotcha. Well, I'll tell you what, Luke, man. First of all, I can't wait to work with you this spring, and it's going to be really fun. I've got to get out and catch one of your music shows, man. I got to catch that, and I can't wait to watch some Wrestling with Ghosts. You know,
good times. And the YouTube channel's got some of the stuff and a bunch of our comedy skits. It's BigandFunkyProductions.com.
BigandFunkyProductions.com. Big Luke Walker, folks. Thank you so much for coming on the Beyond the Tinfoil Hat, Luke. This has been great, brother.
It's been my pleasure. Thanks, brother.
All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed that episode with Big Luke. Like he said, hey, go on YouTube, search Wrestling with Ghosts. You can check them out on YouTube. They've got the web series, Asai TV. I believe that's ASY TV. On Roku, you can search it on Roku. You can check out the channel. There's a lot of good stuff to watch on Site TV, believe it or not. Yeah, there is. There's a lot of good travel shows, cooking shows, a lot of good movies, and it's really cheap to get this channel. So definitely recommend Site TV. And check out the movies, WJCAM, The Hike, Vinny's Fantastic Rock and Roll Adventure. That's a good one. And Camp Smokey, which stars Luke, Big Luke Walker. He is the main character in Camp Smokey. So, and that's an interesting horror movie, and I recommend that. That's a good watch too. If you guys have not done so, be sure to head over to Patreon and Heed the World. Show us some love. Make a little donation. That will get you access to some articles at theexperiencersupport.org by our very own Ryan Stacy. Guys, I love seeing you guys pop in here. I can't wait to see you guys next week. I'll be back same time, 7 p.m. with a whole new guest, and we'll be talking some interesting stuff. If you guys have not done so, be sure to like and share the podcast. Be sure to show your boy Danny Whitson some love at Danny Whitson Magic and Comedy on Facebook and at Super Magic Boy on Instagram. Give me a follow, folks. I would love to see you guys give me a follow. I'll follow back. And we are broadcasting live from the E-United Public Radio Network on the Gulf Coast, 105.3 FM, and then the UFO Paranormal Radio Network on 107.7 New Orleans. Guys, keep the normal paranormal, and I will see you later, Paranormal Junkies. All right, that does it for this episode of Beyond the Tinfoil Hat. A big shout out for tonight's awesome guest, and a bigger shout out for everyone who tuned in. And if you haven't done so yet, be sure to subscribe to us on YouTube or wherever it is you listen to your podcasts. And like always, be sure to stay curious, heed the world, and keep the paranormal normal. I'm your host, Danny Whitson, and this has been Beyond the Tinfoil Hat.